Hello and welcome to this yin sequence focused on silence in action. So though I'm not here to preach or protest because I'm not an expert in social justice, I have chosen to use my platform and use this space to offer you time to reflect inward. To sit in silence so that you can actively ingest the library of beliefs, of values that you have collected in your mind. And a lot of them are subconscious. A lot of them have been ingrained in you since you were a child, since you arrived on this planet. And a lot of it is still unknown, the unknown self. And this mat is a way for you to tap into that hidden unknown self. Without any guards, trying not to be defensive in prior ways you may have acted, prior ways you may have believed, but instead, rip apart, shred those books that no longer serve you, to upload a new framework of understanding. And so these holds are long, and these holds may be uncomfortable, but that is part of the intent. Is to learn to sit through your discomfort so that you can show up better for others as they sit through and experience theirs. And hopefully, over time, we can find a way to show empathy and show up wholly. To know that our privilege may cause others harm, and that what may feel like sacrifice for us is really helping to reshape the world we live in. You need to be here. You need to do your work. Particularly if you are a person of privilege. And I'll be using two props today, 2 cork blocks. Foam blocks also work. If you don't have blocks, you can find something similar. Water bottles, big Nalgene's, cushions, blankets, towels, really thick books. We'll start in butterfly. And draw the heels together, toes together. Really press in through big toe mounds. Guide the heels away from the sit bones. So it's more of a diamond shape rather than a narrowing through the hips. You can use blocks underneath the knees to support you if the hips are feeling quite tight to begin. The hands settle onto the shins. Root through the seat as you rise up through the top of the head. Spread the collarbones away and open through the chest. Close the eyes. Feel the breath at the nostrils. Not trying to control it. Noticing its current length, pattern. Noting a variation in temperature, texture between the inhales and exhales. Deepening through the inhale, and matching in length the exhale. And feel how your breath moves through your body. Down through the respiratory tract, into the lungs, where it meets the bloodstream, these little sacs called the alveoli. Oxygen moving in, waste and carbon dioxide moving out. And from there, the oxygen flows in through the heart, down the arteries, all the way to the capillaries that then send the oxygen through to the tissues for replenishment and nourishment. And the capillaries absorb the waste carbon dioxide there. And it travels up the veins, back into the heart, out through the alveolar sacs. With an exhale, you release it. This complex system working without you even having to think about it. It's a great reminder that while we often feel like we're our own vessel, object separate from everything around us, with each breath we take in and give off a little piece of ourselves. So when we become determined that we are unable to change, go back to that understanding that through your breath, you are constantly transforming. Hands sweep behind the knees. You draw the knees up, straighten through the left leg, turn the toes to point up. And snug the right heel into towards your seat. Root down through the heel, send it away from the left hip. Press down through right big toe mound. Inhale, rise up through the top of your head. Exhale, squeeze the thigh in towards the chest in towards the thigh. And then wrap your left hand in front of the shin, release the fingertips behind you. Maintain that length, so your body weight is being supported through your pelvis rather than through that back arm. Take the inner elbow, wrap it around the knee. Hand can rest on the thigh or release in the air. We inhale, send the chest up. Exhale, twist through the torso. Draw that left hip back, right hip forward. We stay neutral and centered through the hip. Really let the movement come through the abdomen and through the rib cage. And settle here. Perhaps the gaze can turn over the right shoulder, maybe the eyes close. So there is active silence and inactive silence. There's the silence where you draw in, you close off, you neglect, you shy away from. And there's the silence where you absorb. You take the time to listen to your inner voice, to the voices of those around you, so that you better understand how to take the next step forward. And as you hold in these poses, notice what is leading your decisions. Whether you're moving through the sensations of your body, or you are moving because your mind is telling you to do so. And keep feeling your breath move your body. Sensing expansion through the chest. Inhale, gaze turns towards the left toes. Exhale, release the left hands behind you. Use your hands to support the right knee. You draw the right foot to the outside of the left thigh. Press down through right big toe mount. The fingers interlaced. Send the chest in towards the knee. Press the thigh into the belly. You can stay with the left leg long, or release the hands to lean over to your left hip. Sweep the left heel in towards your right hip. Press down through the right sit bone in particular. You find an even foundation. We build from the bottom up. We establish a solid framework from which to grow. And sometimes the frameworks, the establishments that we adhere to need some adjusting. One of my least favorite phrases is, well, that's the way it's always been. I heard it all the time when I worked in corporate. It's because something has been set and someone in the past determined that that was the best way for it to be, doesn't mean we can't make the changes needed to move forward. And sometimes disruption of the framework enables more growth. And we use this practice on the mat to really feel into that. We use the stability of our body on the floor to carve out more expansiveness through the body. And it's not always comfortable, but we sit through the discomfort rather than avoiding, rather than tuning out. Our breath is a tool to guide us in, to move us past. Release the hands, keep them behind you. Straighten through the right leg as you lean forward into the knee and tuck up onto your left toes. And straighten through the right leg so that the heels come down. And find your block, settle your block underneath the seat. So I have mine on my middle setting, but you can adjust as needed. And find your left hand to the pinky toe so that you can activate there as well. If this feels like too much of a stretch through the left foot, you can always untuck through the toes. Hands can release down to the floor, or if you have blocks or other props, you can support yourself onto the side. Stay long through the spine. Keep sending that right heel away. Toes stacked right over top. And our left knee is straight forward. Maybe you take right hand onto the heart, left hand on top. In the stillness, in the silence, our mind cloud can become a thunderstorm of thoughts. And it can feel frustrating, particularly if this is not something that you practice regularly. But we try to weather that storm by acknowledging what arises and letting go. So we don't try to hide under the umbrella, burrow in a cave. We say hello. But then we ask ourselves if it serves us to latch on. Then we choose to sweep that cloud away. And maybe there's a pause. Maybe there's a clearing. But pretty soon a new cloud will arrive. Maybe a cluster of clouds. So we keep repeating. We keep observing without a need to label, a need to cling or hold on to. And release the hands down to the floor. Use your left hand to untuck through the left toes. Drop the foot down to the floor. Try to keep the foot in a flat line, even with the shin. Then lean onto your left seat to remove the block from underneath you. You can keep the block if it feels more supportive. Otherwise, you lower that right sit bone down to the floor. Try to keep that left knee in line with the hip. Stay rooted through that right heel. Remain tall, or fingertips walk behind you. Maybe you bend through the elbows. Knowing that I am a guide and your body knows what's best. You are the owner of your practice. Perhaps you choose to lower down onto the forearms. If you have a bolster or a big couch cushion, you can sneak it underneath the back to support you. Make sure that you don't feel pain through the left leg. There's a difference between comfort and pain. We can use our breath to move through discomfort, stay steady. Whereas pain takes us out. Pain is a tingling and numbness, possible compression of a blood vessel, an artery, or a pulling of a joint, a ligament. We want to reflect without causing harm. Maybe we have space to lower the head all the way down to the floor. Release the palms, face up beside us. Nestle the shoulder blades into the mat. Keep pressing down through the back of the big toe mound on the left leg. Feel a tug-of-war sensation between the right heel and the right hip. So you elongate the back line of the leg. Find your breath if you've lost it. The breath is your anchor inward. If you're all the way down, press through the elbows. And turn the palms to face down. Use your forearms and hands to support you in rising up. And we'll lean to our right. Sweep the left leg out. Draw the feet wide. Into a wide-legged seat. You can use a support underneath the sit bones if needed. We'll circle through the ankles. Feel the release of straightening that left leg. And we circle in opposite direction. Wiggle out the toes. Root down through seat. Press into fingers. Lift up through back of head. Open through the chest. Press the heels away, drawing toes towards the knees. Notice how the energy can root you downward and yet lift you up. As you draw it into you, expel it out of you, and feel it move within you. And circulating through your systems. Draw the soles of feet together, finding butterfly once again. If you have a support underneath your seat, you can keep it there or release it. You can add supports underneath the knees. Take your thumbs to the insides of your feet. A gentle massage through the soles. Not gripping through the fingers. And stay soft on the back of the foot. And the hands rest, cupping between the index fingers and the thumbs. Inhale, send your head up. As you exhale, hinge through the hips, bend through the elbows. Sit bones and head move in opposite directions. Perhaps you can use the elbows and forearms to press into the shins, draw the knees down. Go through the head. And feel the activity through the legs, through the arms. And a passive release through the back and the head. Gravity, your friend, is supporting you and melting downward. You tuck the chin in towards the chest. Inhale it to left shoulder. And exhale it to center. Inhale to right. Move in these half arcs. Slowly and intentionally. Releasing any clenching of the jaw. Any furrowing through the forehead. If you're moving through the neck, make sure you're even ending on the right side. And return to neutral. And drop in. Feel the big toe mounds press together. Root down through the outer edges of the feet and the sit bones to slowly rise up. Release the hands, take them to the outside of the knees. And draw the knees up, straighten through the right leg as the left foot comes in. Interlace the fingers. We send our chest up and forward. Integrate through the right ankle. Pressing heel away from the hip. Drawing right hip back, left hip forward. Maintain this foundation through the legs as we release left hand behind us. Right inner elbow can catch the knee. Inhale for length. Exhale into the twist. Send that left shoulder blade back as though you were pressing it against a wall. Feel your belly button pressing into the left inner thigh. Comfortable for the neck, gaze can turn over the left shoulder. Eyes can close. Notice what arises on this side. Whether there's ease or tension. How it felt similar or different from the right. Observing without fully understanding. Just reflecting on the current patterns in the body. The more that you sit with them, notice them, and don't attach to them, the easier it becomes for your neural system to release that pattern, to let go. Suddenly it says, oh, wait a minute, we don't need to hold tension here because it's not serving us. Draw the hip bones, the front body towards one another as though you were zipping up a tight sweater. Feel how that helps you ease into the twist. Ring through the spine so that you can wring out the congestion. Gaze returns to the right foot. Release through the right hand. And set the left foot over to the right. Switch the interlacing of the hands. So will likely be your awkward grasp. Plug through that left big toe mound and rise up through the heart. Maybe we release the right hand so we can lean to the right. And tuck that right heel in towards the left hip. And settle the left sit bone down. Squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. Notice if tension in the hip causes tension through the jaw. Take some circles of the jaw. Let it release. The arms can be active to move the knee inward, but try to stay soft through the shoulders and the neck. Check in with your breath. Notice if its rhythm has altered from the last time you tuned in. Release the hands. Straighten through the left leg as you tug up onto your right toes and your prop. Take the prop underneath your seat. And settle in. Left heel in line with left hip. Remembering if this is too much on the foot, you can always stay untucked or find a support underneath the ankle. And left hand can come to heart, right hand over top. It is likely that you are noticing a lot of sensation through the right foot. Can you breathe through the discomfort? If the mind is telling you to move out, check in with how your body feels. Is there tingling, numbness, that sense of pain? Or are you feeling the challenge, feeling the edge? Is your breath able to steady? And if so, can you stay in it? Can you send that negative thought away and replace it with the mantra of yes, I can, or I am strong, or I can breathe through this. If our hands are at the heart, press the chest in towards the hands. Feel the vibrations underneath the palm. Release the hands. Lean to the left. Untuck the right toes. Then I'm going to remove that support from underneath my left seat. Know that you can always keep it there. We'll lower onto the left sit bone. And check in with that right foot. So it's straight, it's neutral, it's not dumping out. That left heel, left toe stay engaged. You choose your path. You navigate the depth of this posture. You bend into the elbows. Lean back onto your forearms. Wherever you are, try not to curl in through the shoulders. Keep sending the shoulders towards the midline of the back. Perhaps the head comes down, the shoulders settle, the palms turn up. Being really deliberate with the choices you make on the mat. No forcing. No need to take action just to satisfy the mind. No need to prove yourself. Sometimes the most powerful action you can take is to do nothing with intention, so that you have the opportunity to listen in. And scan through the body. Notice if there's any holding that isn't serving you. There are two ways to approach it. Option one is to Focus in, breathe there. Use your exhales to let it go. Option 2 is to find a place of comfort in the body. Focus all your attention there so that your brain understands what calmness, release feels like. And maybe that source of tension will passively melt away. Palms face down, you're all the way down. Press through the elbows, rise up onto your forearms. And then up to a seat. Lean to the left. Straighten through right leg. Take both legs long out in front. You may want a cushion for underneath you. Just come onto the edge if you are using a support. And we'll take the heels a little bit wider than hip width. Fingertips can come behind us to steady the spine. Staff pose, Dandasana. Imagine as though you had sandbags on the thighs, weighing that big femur bone of the thigh down into the floor. And then point the toes in towards one another. Keep drawing the heels as far away as you can, while the big toes kiss. And stretching through the outer hamstrings. And feel the outer line in the back of the thigh. Heels come all the way together and toes turn out. Maybe your pinky toes press against the floor. Make sure we're not forcing it. Feel your outer thighs press in towards the mat. Your inner knees draw closer together. As we stretch through the inner hamstrings, the inner back of the thigh. And try not to let the sensations of the legs round you in. Stay soft through the front body. And keep lifting through the head. And turn the toes to face up. You can choose whether you'd like to keep the feet together or take them a little further apart. I like to have them hip width apart so that I can sneak blocks between the thighs. Moving into a forward fold. So keep that sandbag sensation through the thighs. And we use the stability of those big bones to tilt through the pelvis. It's a lot easier for a joint to mobilize when one of the two bones is really stable and steady. And our hands walk forward as we hinge through the hips. Engage through the core. And once you've found your depth, I like to release my head onto a support so that I'm not straining through the neck, not tensing through the shoulders. Move slowly into your depth. Knowing that your props can be adjusted to take you further, if that is what your body needs. Knowing that you can shift your foundations, shift your supports, they can better serve you. It seems quite simple when we talk about it in this format. The same goes for the systems, the institutions that set the framework for our communities. Sometimes it needs a reset in order to provide. If you feel a shakiness, sit with it. Let that release happen. Maybe hands can reach towards the toes. Make sure you're not pulling and rounding through the arms. Movement is still coming through the hips. And 3 more breaths. The fingertips come outside the legs. Vertebrae by vertebrae rise up. Set the props aside. And keep one close to your hip as you turn so that the seat is on the floor and the soles of the feet are on the floor. Bring your feet hip width apart and root down through the outer edges. The outer edges are in line with the long edge of your mat. Shift the seat as close as you can towards the hips. And then release onto the floor. Find your hands in a triangle shape. And you'll take the heels of your hands onto your hip bones and the index fingers onto your pubic bone. Soften the palms into the hands, no gripping into the hips, not the hands. As you inhale, feel the index fingers lift towards the sky as you tuck the tailbone up and draw it down towards the bottom of your mat. Flattening through the low back. Then exhale in the opposite direction. You pour the index fingers towards the mat. You feel a hollowing through the low back. Go back and forth a few more times. Dancing through the pelvis. And then inhale, send the hips up towards the sky, finding bridge. Exhale, hold here. Squeeze the thighs together as though you had a block in between them. Release the hands alongside you. Press down through the shoulder blades. Walk them underneath. Stay long through the back of the neck. Find your support. And I like to take mine on the middle setting. Release it underneath the back. And drop the sacrum down. And set it up so that you don't feel any pain. If you do, you're likely too high up on the low back. So a few inches below those bony ridges of your hips, the base of your spine, the center of gravity. And release the palms to face up. And keep the knees stacking over the ankles. Feel the compression through the low back, the release through the front body. Remain as is, or right leg straightens. Turn the toes to stack on top of the heel. Heel stays in line with the hip. Know that you can always drop down to a lower setting or stay in supported bridge. If any of these variations feel like too much, you can always rest the low back onto the floor. Draw the feet out towards the edges of your mat and drop the knees in together. Constructive rest. And perhaps you lengthen through left leg. Both snowflakes come along. If you're taking only one side, I'll let you know when to change. The block acts as a fulcrum for expansion through the hips, through the front body, and the breath is your fulcrum for exploration. Breath is the one tool we have to voluntarily control our nervous system, parasympathetic in particular, which is in charge of the rest and digestion state of being. So when we hone into this skill of slowing down the breath, the feeling into the breath, we can then apply it into our day-to-day lives as we confront challenges or obstacles. Instead of that sympathetic response of fighting, fleeing, or freezing, we use our breath to stay calm, steady our heart, so that we can make the right decisions. Rather than acting in fear. Switch legs. If you had the right leg long, switch to the left. And try not to let the toes drop out. We want to keep our pelvis well supported, not compromising any of these structures around the hip joint or the SI joint. This pose may feel vulnerable. We hold a lot in our hips, a lot of tension. Not only physical tension, but also emotional tension. We store anger, resistance, fear, frustration, excitement, sadness. So sit with whatever arises. Really present with your emotional state. Maybe it will, like those clouds we spoke of earlier, fluctuate. Bend through the knees. Soles of feet return to floor. If you are on a higher setting than your lowest setting, we inhale, root through the feet, press up through the hips, and adjust our block to its lowest setting, knowing you can always release the block if you feel like your low back needs the ground. Palms turn to face up. Right knee draws in towards the chest. We interlace the hands to cradle that shin. Knee moves toward midline of the chest. And sometimes we need to move away from that forward direction in order to generate change, in order to expose areas of the body, of the mind, that we may usually avoid. You can choose to lengthen through the left leg if you feel like you'd like to continue opening through the hip flexor. Your knee comes out towards the elbow, dropping outside of the armpit as you anchor through the left sit bone. If the left leg is long, engage through the heel, sending it away from the hip. Knee returns to neutral. Release the hands, release the sole of the foot to the floor. Left knee bends if it's long. Guide it towards the chest. Switch the interlacing of the fingers. Noticing the variation in sides without explaining, without defining. Knee comes closer to midline. Noting the subtle shift that goes with the subtle movement. Perhaps you extend right leg long. If the mind tries to distract you from sensations by bringing you into thoughts of the future, thoughts of the past, can you kindly remind it to be with your breath, to be in this moment. He drops out towards left armpit. Stay grounded through right hip. Float the knee back to center. Drop the foot down to the floor. Release the hands. Right leg is long. Right foot meets the left. Stable through the feet as you lift the hips up. One last time. Release the support from underneath you. And steady down to your mat. Knowing that you are practicing at home. So if any other movements are calling you, take them now. Rise. We'll meet together in Shavasana with the heels wide. Past the edges of your mat, the palms facing up. Walk the shoulder blades underneath you. And tuck the pelvis slightly so that you find that neutral alignment. Subtle hollowing of the low back. Feel your head rooted, your heels rooted. Back of hands, the shoulders, the sacrum. Surrendering down to the floor. Feel your front body soft, open, ready to receive. Silence in action. In space action, not inaction. So rather than zoning out, we use this stillness and this silence to absorb. Releasing any staleness that no longer serves us. Refueling the body. Reframing our mindset. Letting go of all control. Control of the breath. Control of the muscles and the tissues. Control of the mind. Stepping away from the guilt of the past, the shame or anticipation of the future, so that we can truly arrive in this moment, which is the only moment that we have to create change, to evolve. We use this practice on the mat so that we can fully nourish ourselves, that we can reset our foundation, make the shifts needed to move forward. And showing up on the mat, we can then show up more presence in our lives. Find comfort in the silence as it allows us to listen, take in what others have to share. It allows us to turn off our need to do and be there in presence. It allows us to take that pause, that intentional pause, so that you can think through the next best action. It's not a silencing of your voice. It's just learning when to use your voice appropriately. When it's time to speak up or when it's time to serve.
Stay here for as long as you need to. When you're ready to ease out, move slowly. Maybe awakening by wiggling through fingers and toes. The eyelids closed. Circle the eyes clockwise and counterclockwise. Slacken through the jaw, soften through the cheek. Circle through the wrists and ankles. Bring right hand to the heart and left hand over top. Find a long, slow inhale, sending gratitude to yourself for showing up to do the work. With an exhale, setting an intention to cultivate more time for silence, for active silence. Know that you are seen and you are heard. You are noticed. You have the capacity to create change. And from my heart to yours.
These videos are made through love and hard work. Your contributions allow me to keep sharing new content with you. If you're able to give back financially, please click the Make a Donation button on the homepage of this channel. You're also welcome to subscribe to stay up to date on the latest video offerings. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Don't be Kona!